session started with Jay Anderson. Your line is live.
MVP, welcome back. I wanted to ask, first of all, I've asked a couple of fighters this. What is it like getting to take part in a bit of history Saturday with the first MMA card in France?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, it just makes it more of that much more of an occasion. Coming back after all this COVID-19 madness that's still ongoing right now. Having the sports back is a great thing. So that's already feels like a bit of an occasion. And then to add it being just a historic event, just because it's the first time France has actually opened the doors to MMA, just gets me that much more excited. So yeah, I'm happy.
Does the fans being back play a role as well? I know there's not going to be a full house or anything because of the restrictions, but it's one of the rare occasions recently where we're going to see fans in the building.
Yeah, no, again, I think it's a shame that it had dropped down to, I believe it's like 1,000 people now. I'm not entirely sure on that. But it's a shame that it couldn't, because it is such a historical event that's about to take place. It's a shame that we couldn't get a full house in there. It would have been great. But it's definitely a reason to come back to France and put on a show later on when everything's kind of back to normal.
Now, you've got Ross Houston here, undefeated, Cage Warriors champion. He is a tough test. And then if you hear some of the commentary online or from certain areas of the fan base, they label him as a can or just a guy that you're going to crush. Does that frustrate you? Because it really does take away from, what you have to do this weekend, and he is a quality opponent.
Yeah, you know what? It's a bit of an unfortunate side effect to my style, and I've said this from a long time ago. Because if I beat all the exact same people that I've beaten so far, but in a very different, more generic style, where it's a bit more of a back and forward, I get hit a couple of times, and I get rocked, and I come back, and people would just label me, oh yeah, this guy's a great fighter, he's tough, and I wouldn't have that kind of, oh, he's fighting cans appeal. But because of my style, I make really good opponents look very mediocre, which is great entertainment wise. It's great for me as a fighter because I'm able to keep really safe and still be devastating. But that's like I said, there's a side effect to that where people just don't believe in the opponents that I have. Unless they're really high level named opponents. I'm talking from my first ever MMA fight. People were trying to match me up against Anderson Silva and GSP and people like that, and immediately, and I've barely done 6 months of jiu-jitsu. So that just shows you, like I said, the effect of my style.
Donut?
Michael, I've 3 quick ones if you don't mind. The first one is, where does Ross Houston rank? Obviously he's the toughest opponent you've faced since the Douglas Lima fight. But where does he rank in your overall career of tough fights for you? I mean, he's obviously not Douglas Lima, but is he in the Paul Daley range?
Again, I couldn't tell you until I know a lot of people have asked these kind of questions before, and before I've actually stepped in a cage with somebody. I might go in there and it'd be one of the toughest fights I've ever had. I might go in there and it'd just be typical day in the park with MVP. So I'll tell you as soon as I finish. You can ask that question again.
Obviously, people like the last question said, people call you a can crusher. I mean, there are certain people who maybe you've made look like cans. Richard Kiley's no can, but he's you made it look that way.
He definitely is a can.
But do you think now with the COVID regulations, with the fact that you're not going to be performing in front of crowds? I know that what you did towards the end of last year, you did 3 different markets in 3 months. You did Dublin, you did Japan, you did London. Do you think now, without that appeal being there, you're only going to be asking for the top guys from here on in?
Yeah, no, to be fair, I if it wasn't, I don't even believe I'd be matched up with Ross Houston if it wasn't for the situation that I'm actually in at the moment. I'm unable to get to the States. A lot of the American fighters are unable to come over here. So, which is why we have to find, credible opponents. in Europe, and he definitely is a credible opponent. Like, again, he's achieved something I haven't achieved in a world title within MMA. So, you know, I have to give him his dues, and he's also undefeated. You know, I got to change that, but it's a hard thing to change when somebody's just used to winning all the time. So yeah, it's a tough fight, and I just look forward to the challenge.
Michael, we're going to get Ryan Scope on again, and I know that his fight was a big deal. Your fight was also a big deal the last time you were here in Ireland. Could you? We're just past the year anniversary of that incredible night at the Free Arena. Can you kind of, you know, can you have a word on looking back on that great night, the build-up? You obviously had a very heated build-up to your fight that evening, and kind of tell us your best memories of the time you fought in Dublin.
Oh mate, just that whole week of being out there was amazing. Stepping into the arena and hearing, I love supporters that really do support, you know. And one thing I liked about the Irish fans is they support their own, and I think that's important to them, and they're passionate about their country, which is, again, I love to see, which I don't get to see as much in the UK. Sorry, in London, and you know, see just people don't get behind each other like that in the same way, and just hearing that noise, but at the same time they are also martial arts fans as well, so they appreciate a good fight, they appreciate talent, and the comments that I got, you know, so I was out speaking to fans before and afterwards, and it was just great. They truly do love watching the sport, and it's nice for the effort that we put in to kind of receive genuine praise afterwards. So it's great. It was an epic time there.
We'll go to Ben, followed by Andrew.
Hi, Mike. I'm going to merge my two questions into one. So you're on a 3-fight winning streak following your title shot against Douglas Lima, and I assume after making it 4, you're going to be gunning for that rematch there. But obviously Lima's moving up to challenge for that middleweight belt. Would you be willing to take another fight in the interim, depending on how his situation plays out? And also, how do you actually see Lima versus Masati going down?
Yeah, so yeah, that fight is the fight that I want. I'm more interested in that fight than anything else. If you know, Lima was to decide to stay in middleweight, then I'm going to meet him in middleweight. If he was to move up to light heavyweight, then I'll meet him there. Either way, I want that fight. And with regards to his fight, up and coming fight, again, everyone knows that I have massive respect for Lima. Even bigger respect, I think, for Masasi, because I just think he's one of the greatest in our sport. That's just kind of massively underrated, or should be, you know, a lot more highly praised. I actually went to spar him in preparation for Douglas Lima, and the reason is I actually think he's a bigger version of Douglas Lima. And the only main difference there is I think his jiu-jitsu is way superior. We've seen that in how he dealt with Rory McDonald, and I think that's going to be the real difference maker in this fight. If it goes to the ground, Douglas Lima will drown, in my opinion. But I think it's a great fight to make. It was a great fight, a great idea. Very ambitious of Douglas Lima. The fact that they've actually sparred already, and you know, he actually says it didn't go his way, is even more ambitious for him to want to step in and do that in public. So again, like, he's an amazing athlete, got a great mindset, and I'm just going to be a fan on the side, just waiting to see the result. But either way, I want him afterwards.
Andrew?
Hello, mate. Yeah, kind of carrying on from that. As a competitor, it was kind of business as usual for you. You got 3 wins on the bounce after losing to Lima. So how important is it just to get that O back, to get back the person who defeated you before? How significant is that for you to get Lima?
You know what? It's very significant, but not because I lost, not just because I lost the fight. Now, if it was a close back and forth and I lost, or I got completely dominated and I just lost that fight, I probably wouldn't be that eager to get back. I know to myself that there's a lot of work that I need to do to kind of get back to that level. What is more frustrating and why I want to get that back is because I felt like I was in control of that fight. I felt like I almost gave that fight to him, being over eager, being a bit too overconfident in a small moment, and forgetting that at that level, those small mistakes are devastating mistakes, are massively detrimental, as everybody saw. And I think that's what's more frustrating. You know, I had him rocked, and I actually said that, I can't remember what interview or who I was talking to, but I said it's going to end in the second round. Either he's going to be on the floor or I'm going to be on the floor. That's exactly how I said it, and that's exactly how it went down. I just feel like it should have been the other way around, or it was on its way to heading in that direction. And I made a few stupid mistakes that just should never happen. And that's the reason why I'm chasing it, because I feel like I know what should have happened. And it's more frustrating when you feel like you gave something away versus actually just losing.
Does this feel like a special night for British MMA? Of course, you know, the first one in Paris, France, but the BBC thing feels massive, and you got one of the biggest stars in British MMA and a guy who's much beloved back on the British scene as well. So does it feel like a piece of history for British MMA?
Yeah, 100%. I think Bellator have been amazing with regards to getting out to the European audience. People are really starting to know who Bellator is, know the organization of Bellator. And this is, you know, re-educating people that think UFC is MMA, which is great. So people are like, you know, really are starting to acknowledge different organizations and actually understand what the, you know, our situation is. And having BBC on board is just that's going to make it, you know, we're going to go out to way more people. And you know how I feel about that. The more eyes that's on me, the more I want to act out, shall I say, but in a very entertaining way. So I'm definitely looking forward to this night. It's definitely going to be history for the UK and for France.
All right, we'll go to Lenny. Take 2 more questions.
How's it going, MVP?
Good. How's it going?
Yeah, so what's it been like leading up to the fight in the COVID situation? How's it been like in training? Has that kind of affected you in any way?
Fortunately, London Shoot Fighters, we were classed as an elitist gym very early on, which meant anybody that is a professional fighter was able to continue training. We had a load of different things that we had to adhere to, COVID, you know, practices, shall I say, that we had to adhere to. But either way, that definitely kept me sane. I wasn't cooped up in my house like a lot of other people. So I was fortunate to be able to travel to training, and the roads were empty. So it was nice. Get to train every day and still kind of keep that momentum going. And like I said, just keep it definitely helps with the mental aspect of things during that time. So and what also was a great thing is where there's a lot of other gyms that with professional fighters that didn't have gyms accessible to them, they were now coming to our gym. So we ended up with so many new bodies at our gym, working with so many new bodies. A lot of people are very scared of our gym just because we've got a bit of a reputation about how hard we spar and how tough it is there. And it is definitely tough there, but people were then forced to come just because they had no other options. And it was great, definitely a good time for our training.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the fight this weekend against Ross Houston. Do you feel like, what are you going to expect from Ross Houston that night?
I don't really expect anything other than him being a tough MMA fighter, and you know he's gonna want to go for the win. It's a lottery night for anybody that fights me, because they'll make a name for themselves immediately. So he's going to be a tough MMA fighter. I've come across a load of them, and I'm going to be me. And a lot of the time, being me works. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay, we'll take 2 more. Santiago, followed by Michael Morgan.
Hi, Michael. Greetings from Amsterdam. Do
doing?
you still want to do boxing matches, or is your focus only on MMA?
My focus at the moment is MMA, but I definitely I'm not stopping with the boxing. I think I just liked interrupting things over there, because I get the feeling they don't like people coming in from the outside and causing a bit of an uproar, especially with the kind of style that I have. There's a lot of boxing pugilists that just can't stand that kind of style, full stop, and it's even worse when it doesn't come straight from boxing. So yeah, I'm definitely not gonna stop doing the boxing.
They don't like that, man. I love that style. Well, last thing from me, Michael. Bellator is looking to come to Amsterdam next year. Would you like to fight in a country like Holland, where the people adore beautiful striking like yours?
Exactly, it's the same thing I said about the Irish fans in Amsterdam. It's exactly the same. They are pure. They love martial arts. They love combat. And I go over there quite a lot. I've got a lot of friends over there. I used to go back and forward almost just every year. I used to go like 3 or 4, 5 times just to go and see friends over there. And you know, I've seen how they are over there with regards to the martial arts. So it's yeah, Amsterdam is definitely a place I'd like to perform in.
All right, Michael.
Michael, in previous videos and interviews we've conducted with you, you've given us some highlights and, well, viral moments, one of which you predicted very precisely how the Cyborg fight would go down to a T. I mean, how does this fight actually go down to a T?
I'm going to be very honest. I haven't watched Ross Houston yet in terms of any of his fights. I will do over the next couple of days. I'll have a little watch, but I haven't watched him enough to kind of answer that question in the way I want. But for now, I'm more focused on how good I'm feeling, how good I have been feeling in the gym, and some of the stuff that I've been putting out in the gym is insane. So if I pull out even a 5% of that, it's going to be a rough night for Houston. So I'm just focusing on making sure I can deliver exactly that. There's a couple of special moves I would like to land.
Here we go.
He's quite a tight ship. He seems very composed, but I tend to break that down quite well and bring that emotion out in people. So I'm sure I'll do the same.
Just a couple more from me. Well, the prevalence of Black Lives Matter at the moment is obviously doing a worldwide trip. And I noticed that you were actually present at least one of the marches. You know, a lot of people are, I suppose, divided on Black Lives Matter now because of, well, I suppose the bad press that they're getting in terms of things which are slowly being uncovered. Where are you today as we stand on Black Lives Matter?
I'm doing a lot of work with the Taking the Initiative party, which is a party full of different company owners within the Black community, within the Muslim community, getting together. So I'm doing a lot of work in the background just to try and help these things. So sometimes it can, you know, when you're trying to push for something and you're so passionate about it, can come across a bit harsh, or it can come across, people can, you know, receive it in the wrong way. And I think that is what is happening in a lot of different ways. It's hard when a lot of people are getting their information from just social media, and so it's not really the full picture. So I like, you know, we're doing a lot of work with different prominent figures in the Black community to try and rectify things while we've got everyone's attention at the moment. So that's my stance on that for now. But you will slowly see more things with regards to what I've been doing come out slowly.
Incredible. Final one from me. Our old friend Paul Daley was talking recently to me about seeing you in his future. I mean, you're talking quite a lot about, you know, getting back obviously into title contention, but is Paul Daley in your future, or is that something which, you know, you've done, dusted, and you won the fight fairly, and you don't want to revisit? What's your take?
No, he's a person. He's got a face that you always just want to punch. So I'd definitely be happy to jump back in the cage with him. But it seems more, it's more just the emotional side of me talking. I don't think it benefits me in any way doing it. But maybe, you know, we can organize something and say, if he says he's retiring, maybe we can organize something in the future, in the far future, that, you know, we can just line our own pockets and just do something, just me and him, and organize our own event. But yeah, for now, it's not something that I care too much about. Like I said, the main person I'm focusing on is the Douglas Lima fight.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you very much, Michael, and
thank you, guys.
we will be joined